Hello and welcome to It's Sybil. I'm Sybil Wilkes. The guys are here today for an abbreviated period of time, but we're here. Hello there, Damon Williams. How are you?
Doing great. How are you today, Sybil? What's up, Cam?
What's up?
Cameron, how are you?
Doing great. How's everybody doing?
I think we're all established that we're doing well. Thank you.
Yes.
Damon, you aren't able to stay with us. You have a big event coming up. What's happening?
Well, I'm going to the premiere screening of season 3, the first episode of the show Southside, which is a bunch of Chicago talent, and they have that series. But I'm also on a flyer for an event for this brother named Rob Money, who is like one of Bishop Juan type cats. And he put me in the center, dead center, smack in the middle of his flyer for his Love Movement party tonight, which I'm not going to. I had no intention of going, and he didn't pay to use my likeness, so I won't be there. If anybody's watching now, people have been calling me and texting me saying they wish they could come or they're going to be there. But I am not, because he has to learn to stop doing this. He did it last year too.
Oh, this has been done before.
The first time he did it, it was with my permission. So now I'm part of the template.
He assumed that you were down for the cause.
Yeah, people out there, you can't just put someone's face on a flyer. People, y'all know better than that. He knew better than that too. So I hope this circulates to this cyberspace and it gets back to him, because he bogus for that.
Okay. And Cameron, what's going on in your world? Has anyone tried to use your name and likeness without your permission lately?
Nope. Last people that tried to do that, Mark Zuckerberg ended up paying me $400. So
$400. Okay, yeah. Big money, Cam. All right.
Well,
okay.
Everybody got that meta check. So.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
I know. I'm one of those too, Damon.
Yeah.
But Facebook apparently had to pay out. Is this only in Illinois and the Chicagoland area?
This was Illinois, California, a lot of the other states that have been getting ahead of this, like facial recognition stuff.
Gotcha.
Good to know.
Gotcha. Yeah. And it's too late to file on that, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah, you guys have all gotten your money. They've cleaned out the bank account and what have you.
Yeah.
All right, so
guess I'm gonna have to sue for mesothelioma or something.
Let's hope that never comes to pass.
Right.
However much fun it may be to say, I understand it's not a good way to go.
Yeah.
So let's go there.
Okay.
So let's start with the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our African-American generated newsletter. We super serve the African-American community with the stories here, as well as the people that are working on this particular adventure. And Khameron is one of our contributors. And Khameron, I want to talk to you about a story that I got more text today than I've gotten about any other story, and it's primarily because they didn't understand your headline. This is in reference to a Supreme Court case, and it says, will the Supreme Court finally cut the tail off the gerrymander? That sounds painful, and it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, so make it make sense for us.
Sure. The way, first of all, the definition of the term gerrymander is dates back way early on in our nation's history, when congressional leaders began to draw lines around certain districts. And the reason why they call it gerrymandering is because an individual with the last name Jerry, his last name was Gerrymander. He began drawing these ridiculous district boundaries that looked like salamanders. And so people then attributed the act of drawing crazy district boundaries, they called it gerrymandering. So if you ever look at your congressional maps, the areas in which your votes count towards certain candidates, if your districts are drawn in these very obtuse and obscure ways, it means that your party leaders have been gerrymandering. Now, gerrymandering is very commonplace. It is what happens when districts get redrawn every few years or so. The ruling party and the opposing party have to agree on district boundaries. Reason why they want to do that is because they want to eclipse as many of their voters as possible, so that when it's time to run, they're already comprising the majority in these various districts. Okay.
Got it.
So the reason why this is bad is because we live in a hyper adversarial political climate, and these district beefs have become so toxic, it creates what happened in LA a few weeks ago, when someone leaked footage of that statesman calling Black people derogatory terms.
Right, in the city council. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So now it's hit the Supreme Court, where they have to decide whether or not to finally decide what's the limits of liability with regards to gerrymandering, redrawing districts, and how much power do state elected officials have when it comes to deciding the to quote the Constitution, time, places, and manner of elections. Sorry.
Got it.
So to put it simply, the GOP in North Carolina wants the Supreme Court to validate this thing called the independent state legislator theory, which means that they want state Supreme Courts to not decide anything about elections. They want elected officials to decide things about elections
that they've already done. They've already gerrymandered, and so they don't want anyone to rule against them. They don't want an independent jury system, or jurist system, I should say, to rule against them and say, this is a bunch of hooey. This is not fair, and it's not the way to do political business with the people of this state.
And attributing power to state-appointed elected officials is how we get Jim Crow era voting laws that have survived so long in the state of Georgia, for instance. Mm-hmm. So let's hope that the Supreme Court will intervene on what exactly the court and the state legislature can and cannot do. The unfortunate part is that we have a conservative Supreme Court who believes in the independent state legislator theory.
So let's hope, although I'm not hopeful, I will be hoping, but I'm not hopeful that this Supreme Court, especially this particular sitting, is going to do this. And I look back to 2013, where it was Holder versus North Carolina, and they gutted a good part of the 13th Amendment regarding pre-clearance and letting people know what the changes were that were going to take place. And this was led by the Chief Justice, the current Chief Justice. And so North Carolina is no stranger to this. Georgia, Texas, Florida is another good example of a lot of southern states, but certainly in North Carolina, as close to the north as we are going to get in this discussion. It just boggles the mind that someone would suggest there should be no one above us to make these decisions. That's what's so incredibly ridiculous, and obviously no hubris amongst them to whoever is the leader of this group of people to tell you you're wrong. That's why we have these three branches of government. So it is a check and balance, and you need to be checked on this, right?
Yes, and I would also we always like to stress voting, but I would also like to stress the support of politicians that you believe in. If we didn't back Stacey Abrams, we wouldn't even know that these Jim Crow era voting practices are still in place. If people didn't back Andrew Yang, I can guarantee you that we would not have had COVID relief. And if people didn't back Bernie Sanders, there was no way that we would put as much pressure on corporations as we are now. And there's no way people would have even been able to get more access to healthcare. So even if the person that you support loses, there are millions and millions and millions of people behind them who believe in them, that have the power to sway and influence a person that's in the seat.
Got a question. With the redistricting, when it comes to drawing those districts and such, is the census at all a contributor to that? Because I know people say we need to participate in the census so that our districts can be properly represented. How does that factor into the gerrymandering?
Yeah, so excellent question. So if more people do the census, that shows the demographics of people living in these certain districts. And then the parties like to draw their district lines around who is more likely to support
who
them.
Is a part of their party. Yeah.
Right. Predicated on the census data.
Like some states have lost, and I think Illinois is one of them, you guys, that lost congressional representation because it's obvious that Illinois is losing residents, but also a lot of people did not fill out the census in order to be counted. And as a result, the Democratic majority drew the districts as they saw fit, just like in states like North Carolina and Texas and Georgia and what have you, in Florida. The Republican parties are drawing the districts to enhance their possibility, enhance the probability of their being represented in not only in their districts, in the state districts, but in the U.S. Congress as well. It doesn't have to do with the Senate because everybody gets two representatives from each state. But yeah, and that was one of the things that we told people, to be counted. It counts. When and it's not about the government getting all up in your business. It's about representing you and make sure that you have someone and that you are counted in terms of what you do in your city and your county and your state.
Yeah,
and it's funny.
Oh, sorry, Damon.
It's so funny how people are worried about the government getting up all in their business, but then don't read any of the terms and conditions for all the free apps on their phone.
Right. Exactly.
The U.S. government and China's in your business if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Facebook, older people.
The Facebook. Khameron, I do want to tell you that I was trying to explain to people about gerrymandering, and they knew. I mean, the people that were calling, they were just kind of scratching their heads about the headline, and I thought it was a play on salamander. And I do, and we've had our political science classes where everybody knows about the guy named Jerry. I think he was a former vice president who was famous, I think, in the state of Massachusetts for drawing the lines. And that's where gerrymander comes from. But his name was Elbridge Gerry, if I'm not mistaken.
Gerry. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you for that. And speaking of the importance of voting and representation, the polls are now closed in the state of Georgia as Georgia is on the minds of a lot of people watching the returns right now. And the polls closed at 7 p.m. Eastern in the runoff between the incumbent Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock and the Republican challenger, football hero for many, and Republican candidate for others of Herschel Walker. Right now, you're looking at about just 12% of the vote in. It's going to be easier to count this tonight because of all of the early voting that was done. Almost 1.9 million people participated in the early voting. And Warnock is leading as a result of those early votes that have been or will be counted or are in the process of being counted, as well as mail-in ballots. The fear today, and I'm not sure if this held throughout the day, but there was said to be rain in Georgia. And the fear was that this is the day that Republicans prefer to go on voting day, as Joe would say, on election day. And so this is going to be interesting to see how this flips. What happens is it's either going to be a 50-50 Senate if Herschel Walker wins, please God, and it's going to be a 51-49 Senate if Senator Warnock reclaims his seat. This is going to make it easier for Democrats in a lot of ways. They're not always going to be calling the vice president's office saying, we need you to come and vote. there also is going to have a full victory and a full majority of the Democrats in the United States Senate. They won't have to share chairmanships, and Chuck Schumer will be able to not have to deal with Mitch McConnell quite so much on some of the balance of this. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. What do you guys think? Do you have any sense of how this is going to look, Khameron?
I think it's unfortunately a bit of a toss-up. What I've been hearing down in the state of Georgia is that it's just very adversarial, and the reason why people favor Herschel Walker over Raphael Warnock, it varies from a wide array of things that just that honestly don't make sense.
Well, I think because they think that Herschel is going to do what Herschel is told by the party. And just like one woman said, I don't care if, he performed abortions right in front of me. He is going to vote against abortions once he gets to the United States Senate. We will make sure of that.
Yeah, I've heard some heinous statements of no matter what he did or will do, they're trying not to lose control of the Senate or trying to keep control of that seat in Georgia. So but that, okay, if you're a right winger, you're a MAGA person, that all is understandable. They are polarized in their beliefs. They're behind the whole agenda. But when it comes to the barbershops and you see brothers saying well, Herschel, Herschel what, man? You shouldn't even have to be convinced. There's nothing else at the end of that sentence that makes sense for Herschel Walker to be a senator. If you can't even put together a sentence, you can't complete a thought, how is he going to read a full bill and pass judgment or a vote that makes sense? It's mind-boggling that over almost 2 million people thought this guy should be qualified as senator. And I call it the Trump effect because, the party is denigrated because of all of the candidates that have been. Marjorie Taylor Greene is another example right
Lauren
there
Boebert.
that shows, and it all started for some of the white people, I believe, when Obama won. It's well, now that the Negroes in, it's a free-for-all.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy.
And go ahead, Khameron. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that I don't think Republicans really got over it back when Reagan was president. Reagan was a TV star. He was an actor. There wasn't really much,
But he could put sentences together Damon says that Herschel is incapable of doing.
And he was also a governor for a while. Even though he was a figurehead, he held public office. This dude, we haven't even heard from Herschel Walker since he was running the ball. So, it's ridiculous for some to just pop somebody up with name recognition and make them a candidate and people fall for it.
And then that's how little regard he has for the state of Georgia, which he's obviously no fan of Georgia, Trump being the person I'm referring to.
Indeed. And the fact of how much money is being spent, not only on the first initial, the primaries, the initial vote, and then this runoff. All of that money could be used for the people. And it's just so misguided how our system is politically that we spend as much money as we do campaigning. When a person gets in office, they spent $240 million on the initial campaign. Right. I don't know what this runoff costs.
Oh, it's 2-1, the Democrats pushing back as far as the money spent to get their message across about how inept Herschel Walker is. And then they bring in everybody, like the president.
Yeah, if you add up the $300 million, whatever problems are had in the state of Georgia could be solved with the campaign election money. So somebody has to start talking about that. The money in elections is misguided and the money is there. The people that claim that they are supporting a candidate because they believe in what they will do could just do it with the money.
Yeah, just invest in people, invest in programs, and invest in the government, if you will, in terms of this money and where it's going, not in the ridiculousness of, putting somebody in place who is going to be just a mouthpiece and not a very good one.
And the commercials are not even talking about issues anymore, what their agenda is. It's all about just negative bashing the opposite opponent. So It's ridiculous, but I digress.
I know. Before you leave, Damon, I do want to remind people, flu season is here, and it's here with a vengeance. That's our third story, people saying that usually the worst of flu or some of the highest numbers of cases are towards the end of December into January, and now it is here. 44 states are reporting high activity, and it is not only affecting our elderly, but our babies, our children. A number of deaths have been reported for them as well. The dominant flu strain so far is the kind typically associated with higher rates of hospitalizations and deaths, particularly in people 65 and older. So so cough into your sleeve there, Khameron. And we just want people to take care of themselves. That's what we're here for, is to inspire people to check in and check up on each other and find out. And I'm asking you guys, have you gotten your flu shots? Admittedly, I have not had mine yet.
I have not either. I've never taken a flu shot, but as I'm starting to get older, I'm starting to consider it as an option to stay safe. But I usually get my little bug right around November, and my body fights it off, and then I'm all good the rest of the year. So hopefully that has been the case, because I've already had it this year. Had my few days down, and but get the flu shot if that suits you people.
Yeah, if it does. I'm one that has had a flu shot and didn't have the effects that the last booster had on me. So I'm going. What about you, Cam?
I haven't taken a flu shot in a while. I don't really get sick very much. I just try to beef my immune system up, and then when people come into public places sneezing and coughing, I leave.
Yeah. Are you guys still wearing masks?
Washing.
Yeah, washing your hands. Are you
My wife does. She still wears her mask, especially when we travel, in crowded places, or even if we're in a restaurant. As we walk through the restaurant, she might throw a mask on. But I'm laughing because I'm like, if you keep your mask on, and if I don't wear mine, if I get it, you get it, because I'm about to be up on you later.
You can bet your bottom dollar on that one. Yes, sir.
You can bet your whole bottom on that one.
Damon, I know we have you for a short period of time. Do you have an opportunity to stay with us for the express yourself question?
Let's do it. I got 5 more minutes or so.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So one of the national days this month is National Cotton Candy Day. What's your favorite ooey gooey snack that has no redeeming nutritional value? And I'll tell you, having been in a carnival and participated in a school carnival and done the cotton candy, and all you do is pour bushel loads of sugar in and just watch it, make the cotton, and cotton comes alive. So that's why I chose this for an ooey gooey snack. Do you have one, Khameron? Do you have a cheat food? You have no cheat food. You have none that you're like, oh man.
It's not like I'm not like big on sweets. Like I'll do like pizza. Like I had an Impossible Whopper from Burger King today.
How was that?
Impossible Whopper is like top tier vegan fast food.
And so that's not cheating if it's not meat. It's
well, I consider it cheating because I should have cooked at home, but I was starving and I forgot my lunch when I left out today.
Gotcha.
Yeah, well, check the sodium on those Impossible joints. I heard that's an issue with that. I have an issue whenever I go to this place. It's called Nikki's. It's on 105th and Western or whatever. People that are in Chicago. While I'm waiting for my food, they have this ice cream section, and I always have to get the strawberry cheesecake, and I eat it while I'm waiting on my food. It don't even make it to the car. And they're like, "Would you like a bag?" Nope, I just need a spoon. I'm eating that right there.
While you're preparing my food. Yeah.
Indeed. Yep. And I think cotton candy and anything made of cotton should be free for all Black people. Our ancestors paid for that cotton. If you see anything, cotton balls, Q-tips, we should never have to pay for anything made of cotton. Just want to get that out there.
That's true.
Hashtag free Black cotton.
Free black cotton hashtag. I got to give a shout out to Ward White, who made one of the best desserts that I've had in a very long time. And that was his key lime pie. I don't know what kind of nutritional value it has, and maybe a little vitamin C from the limes, but it was delicious. And if you're all lucky enough to get a Ward White key lime pie, you're very fortunate indeed. So that is my ooey gooey favorite dessert as of right now, and I'm not sure. And
I have another one, but I can't say it on air. Anyway, that ooey gooey is my favorite thing. I gotta go.
Mine too.
Nothing like a little ooey gooey late at night. I'll talk to you all on Tuesday.
All right. Safe travels.
All right. I'm at home at Riddles this weekend, by the way. I'm at home at Riddles this weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
see you.
Put that in. Thank you so much. So let's see. We have Keisha Mitchell Brown on Facebook says, I love my Oreos and dip it in milk. And let me tell you, Keisha, dipping it in a cup of coffee first thing in the morning is not a bad way to start your day either. I'm just
all right.
Yeah, absolutely. M&M's with peanuts, says Renee Woodridge on Facebook. None of this does anything for you, Khameron.
Nope. Can't say it does. I am so sorry.
Trina Jackson also on Facebook says M&M's with almonds. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I don't think you can go wrong with M&M's. I agree with that too. I'm a Hershey girl, and Hershey chocolate bars with almonds or without, it doesn't matter. I like the almonds though, so maybe that has some nutritional value for me. Lachelle Reddick on Facebook says almond butter, my favorite.
Almond butter's good.
That sounds healthy. It doesn't sound like it has no nutritional
value. It's peanut
value.
butter. I mean, it's healthier, but it's not like
healthier. It's health-like.
Yeah.
Yolanda, let's see that you just threw up there. Janice Wade on Facebook says Cinnabons. Sure. They don't have them very often. You don't. Okay. So do you get them when you go to the airport, or is there a special place, or do you make them yourself? Joylyn Wright, Brock candies, jelly beans.
Oh, jelly beans.
No Jelly Bellies with the different flavors.
Yeah, like the spotted ones.
What is the flavor for the spotted ones?
It's always like a mystery flavor. To me, it's usually, I don't know. I always call it like passion fruit or something. I don't know. I don't even know what a passion fruit tastes like.
Oh, well, you're missing something there, my friend. Janet Ferguson on Facebook says, donut sticks. Every time I go in the grocery store, I have to buy them. I've never seen a donut stick, but I have traveled far and wide in the state of Florida with Chica to find Dunkin' Donut munchkins, the little donut holes. This was like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And we're looking for an open Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
I love kettle corn, says my man Brian Scott on Facebook. That would be another of my ooey gooey. And Khameron was very kind to help me with that and bought me some Garrett's popcorn when he came to Dallas in the fall. Joylyn Wright says, this season, Little Debbie Christmas cakes. What makes them so good? I don't know. I know Little Debbie, but I don't know of her product. So please let me know. Always Z Walker says candy turtles. Yeah. Those are good. Khameron, when you were a little boy, did you have relatives? You go to their house and they would have all of the somebody, no one has mentioned candy corn and peanuts. That's a combination my mother used to have at our house, and people could scoop them up with a spoon and not with their hands, obviously. Did you have, and my mom had the Brock's candy as well.
My great grandmother would always say, "Oh, go in there and get you a pop or a juice," and then we'd have we always have whatever soda and those little nondescript juice boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Those were always nice on a summer day.
A generic. Did you ever make popsicles at home?
Once, yeah. We made them at summer camp a lot. Through the park district.
Yeah,
those were really fun.
What was your park district?
We did Skinner Park District summer camp for a while, and that was right across from Skinner Elementary School. And there was one more, I forget, but yeah. Oh, right, because in South Shore, I went to this one I went to this one summer camp called like Don Ash Community Center.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I really experienced ghetto ass kids for the first time.
Oh, amongst your peers?
No.
Oh, were you a counselor?
I was peers as in like as a child, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Sorry,
the
I
other
thought you meant-
kids were a little wild for you, huh?
Yeah, there was one kid who was like eating rocks. There was one kid who was just like kicking counselors in the shins. There was
Also, you had some disciplinary issues among these kids.
yeah, it was quite an experience.
Oh my, he ate rocks. I wonder what that meant he was deficient in.
You know what? Maybe I don't know, like essential minerals.
Yeah, something that the rocks gave him, or maybe he was just looking to grow a pair. I don't know. So Yolanda, we have veered off the track here. L Jack on YouTube says Snickers, barbecue corn chips, and a Pepsi. That is a combination for a long visit to the restroom, as far as I'm concerned. Sonia Maple says Dove chocolates. She says that she's on
classic.
YouTube saying that Dove is chocolates are classic. Yeah, absolutely. Brenda Brooks Perry on YouTube says butter pecan ice cream, Tennessee honey caramel sauce, and whipped cream.
That's a combination. That's quite a combination.
That sounds like a PMS dream. You would know nothing about this, Cameron, but I'm just saying. That sounds like I'll take a little of this, and I'll take a little of this, and I'll take a little of this, and yeah.
You know, I've got
what time it is.
5 sisters. I am proportionately more in the know than the average male.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm talking about personally, though. You would know what kind of goes on in your system,
right? Yes.
That sounds like that's what that is. Yeah. Let's see. Charlotte Bowen Bellamy on Facebook. Kit Kat candy bars. I need to be careful with those. I am like that with Twix candy bars too. I mistakenly bought some candy bars for Halloween, and I ended up giving the majority of them to a friend who is big on Snickers bars. I'm a Twix girl, left, right, I don't care. I just like the Twix.
Charlotte should go to Japan. They have over 600 flavors of Kit Kats.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Why?
they have like green tea Kit Kats, matcha Kit Kats.
Why?
I don't know. It's Japan.
I don't get it. Okay, Barbara Ferguson, fresh Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh yeah, sure. Those are delicious.
Fresh donuts. It's hot. Yes. I didn't know Krispy Kreme until I worked in one of my radio jobs was in Charlotte. Everybody's like, "Oh, we got to go to Krispy Kreme," after we got off the air, and I was like, "What is a Krispy Kreme?" And then of course it started moving around the country. But yeah, Krispy Kremes are good.
Yes, they are. McDonald's is considering throwing in a Krispy Kreme with their as part of their meal deal.
Oh, that's not a bad mix, and dip it in their chocolate shake. I'm just saying. Ooh. Gregory Grant says chess pie with ice cream. Okay.
What is chess pie, Gregory?
Chess pie is a delicious, creamy dessert. It's kind of like Yolanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of like a cheesecake kind of pie, but it's creamy, and I don't know why they call it chess, because I was thinking it was like a chess board or something, like chocolate and vanilla. I've not seen it like that, but I've been in Luby's a couple of times and I've seen chess pie, and I bought chess pie for people, right, Yolanda? So I'm not sure what makes it so. Maybe she can tell me. Yeah, I'm not sure. But if you have if you have Mother Dear's recipe for chess pie, maybe that, or maybe Gregory will tell us what makes chess pie. My mom used to make these really, speaking of the holidays, used to make these really good tea cakes, and we would have tea and tea cakes while we were making yes, Yolanda, while we were doing our Christmas decoration.
You put me on the spot. I don't cook, but I think it's just really egg and sugar.
Egg and sugar. Okay. Yeah. So there's your nutritional value with the egg, and the sugar, not so much. Okay. Thank you.
Has it. They call it chess pie because it used to be called chest pie because it was made out of anything that was found in your chest. But then it was called chest pie as like a Southern accent as a play on just pie.
Chest
like,
pie.
Oh, what you got in there? Chest pie.
Chest pie. Chest pie. As a wordsmith, you should love that, Khameron.
Yeah.
Chest pie. So let us thank you guys for participating. We're going to move to the trending news, and there's a lot out there. It's looking good, Khameron, as far as Senator Warnock. It's still early. 35% of the statewide vote is in. He has 55.5%, 55.6% to Herschel Walker's 44.4%. Somebody's going to want to play those numbers tonight. But it is looking good. In Cobb County, it looks like it is Herschel Walker on top of the senator. But we'll keep you up to date as we finish out this show. So the Trump organization was found guilty of tax fraud. Surprise, surprise today.
Oh,
I know. But listen to this. Check this out. Donald Trump's company convicted of tax fraud for helping executives dodge taxes on lavish perks such as a nice Manhattan apartment, a fancy schmancy car, or education, school, and tuition for their children. This was said to be a recognized financial practice at the president's business. The jury found 2 corporate entities at the Trump organization guilty on all 17 counts, including conspiracy charges and falsifying business records. Trump himself was not on trial. The company was on trial. And this came on the second day of deliberations. This went pretty quickly. New York prosecutors have spent 3 years investigating the former president and his businesses. But check this out. As a punishment, the Trump organization could be fined up to, just take a guess how much they might be fined up to.
Oh, like 4 or 5 million.
How about a third of that, 1.6 million? That is a drop in the bucket, right?
Yeah.
They could be fined up to 1.6, relatively small amount for a company of its size, though the conviction might make some of the future deals more complicated. So if other companies are doing this, how much money is the government losing as a result of these companies being in cahoots? And wink, wink, we'll pay for this, this, and this. And you don't have to pay taxes on it. We'll give you the money under the table for this.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because in terms of processes, it does cost taxpayer money for them to deliberate and deliberate and deliberate, only for it to come to just a few million, not even a few, less than a couple million in a settlement. I'm pretty sure this is the state of New York, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the state of New York burns $2 million in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, billing costs alone for the attorneys. I hope this is just an example of what has been people have been convicted of and have been fined. I hope that it is larger. Alan Weisselberg, who was the financial chief, the CFO of the Trump companies, the Trump organization, he pleaded guilty to charges that he manipulated the company's books and his own compensation package to illegally reduce his taxes. And as a result of pleading as well as testifying in this trial, he avoided 5 months in prison. Somebody has got to pay or do time. And I would rather they paid. Because there's some crimes that, if you're stealing from the government, you need to pay back the government, right?
Yes.
It's crazy.
And so, again, but the American people, some of us anyway, are waiting for some retribution on Donald Trump. And this is what it is that we get after 3 years of investigation.
Yeah, they went through that in the first year alone, or first 6 months alone, in paying for information and lawyers to try this case. So, and to do the research on
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Okay, I got bad news for you, Khameron, and I need you to check your emails. because millions of Americans mistakenly were approved for the student debt forgiveness, mistakenly due to a human error. About 9 million Americans with student loans applied for the Biden administration's student debt relief program, mistakenly received emails last month that said their applications were approved. And check this out. The email subject line incorrectly informed 9 million recipients your student loan debt relief plan has been approved. Simple enough. But they weren't. The text of the letter was accurate, letting those recipients know. But if you stop right there, like, well, they told me in the subject line, why do I need to go further? It's letting them know the determination of their eligibility will continue if and when we prevail in court.
Right.
The corrected emails will be sent to those recipients within the next few days. And the company doing this, Accenture, blamed the issue on what else? Human error.
Yeah. It is so disheartening to see these type of critical things happen in the most fundamental of processes. But we know that at the end of the day, it's some federally paid admin assistant processing all of our information one by one by one. So it's terrible, but it's what happens. So I hope that they correct it. But I'm more so hoping that the Supreme Court really just stays out of this one.
I wish on your part too. The contractor with the Education Department is Accenture, and they said those emails were sent November 22nd and 23rd. So check and make sure that we have this. All right. We're going to end early because we've got other production and stuff to do. And we got election returns to watch with all of you. Just so you know, the Republican is inching up a little bit. It's about 55% to 44% for Herschel Walker. Let's end this with Yogi's Jewels and our daily inspiration. Taking a deep breath always allows oxygen to flow to the brain and clear your mind. So I may be doing a lot of this tonight if these returns don't continue to go the way of one particular candidate. All right, everyone, have a good evening. Khameron, I'll see you a little bit later. And please don't forget to register to vote. Our country needs you. Bye.
Everybody.